Hey, what's up everyone? So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi R2-D2. So I did not start collecting the Black Series until like summer of 2020, and later that year I picked up Dagobah R2, and not too long after I realized just how small the Black Series astromechs are. So I didn't even bother trying to track down another R2 and R5. They just looked really funny on the shelf, just way too small. But then just this past February, I picked up the Bandai Model Kit R2, and I was absolutely blown away at how good a properly scaled R2 looks on the shelf. So I was super happy, and I know everyone else is too, super happy that Hasbro did this for the 40th anniversary of Jedi. And I did get two of these. I wanted one for the Jedi shelf as well as the Empire shelf, and then I'll just leave the Bandai Model Kit in the A New Hope section. So R2 times 2. And of course, this comes on a vintage style Kenner card back, and this picture is silly. It's a terrible picture, but it's the same one that they used in '83. So, I mean, it doesn't change the fact that it's just a horrible picture. But you do have the 40th anniversary logo there, Star Wars Return of the Jedi, R2-D2. Stupid picture, and then through the bubble, you can see this beautiful R2. I mean, this just looks amazing. And you get a pant load of accessories, and there's the back of the card. You get a picture of the other figures in this wave, the 40th anniversary blurb, lots of tiny print, barcode, and logos. All right, I'm gonna get R2 open, and let's take a look at him. Okay, so I got R2 out of the bubble, and I think this is great. This is a nice R2, but let's take a close look. We'll start up here at his dome, and I love all the detail in here. The blue is just gorgeous. Nice deep blue. The deep black on this sensor is very good. Love the red. This is great. It would have been nice if these were kind of a light bluish color. These did kind of light up. That's okay. It's okay. That's what the back of the dome looks like. You got kind of a yellowish, kind of a greenish color back here. Love that. Little blue there. This is cool. Great looking dome. And I think the detail on the body, it's perfect. It's perfect. All this, all that. These two little vents there look fantastic. These are good. I think the detail on the legs is just stunning. I mean, they really, really paid attention to all these details and painted them. All this silver against the blue. All this little bit of blue there is great. These little bronze colored things there look just wonderful. Same thing on this leg. That's what the back looks like. Now, I think this could stand a little bit of a dark wash, okay, just to bring out all these lines, especially in the back. I mean, yes, it does look a little empty, but this is what he looks like. I mean, he is kind of empty in the back. There's not much going on back here. But I think a dark wash would really bring out all this detail. I'm not quite ready to do that yet on this R2, but I mean, you have to admit, from top to bottom, this is a great looking version of R2. And I'll just get right into size comparisons. So this is the Black Series Dagobah R2. All right, this is the only R2 that I had on my shelf since 2020, till I got the Bandai Model Kit. But this was it for a little while, and looking at it now, I mean, this is just ridiculous how small this was. And it took them 10 years. The original R2 that was clean, with all the accessories, that came out in 2013. It took them 10 years to get to this. I mean, personally, I think that's kind of absurd, but I mean, this is a welcome addition to the collection. I mean, they did well here, but I mean, this is just kind of silly. And since I have my Bandai Model Kit in the 3-leg configuration, I don't really want to change this because this is not really a toy. I mean, it's a model kit. It's a little, delicate if you want to go changing him. So I leave him like this. So I will show you how to do the new Black Series R2 in the 3-leg, pose. So this one does not have the turn the head and the 3rd leg drops down feature. And I'm so glad. This one you have to grab, okay? And it's kind of difficult. I mean, yes, I have some fingernails, kind of, but it is hard to grab. I found it easy just to grab it with something and just pull out, and it will lock into place. Okay, then you can pivot those back, pivot that down, and you can get him in his 3-leg stance, and that's what that looks like. And I do know the Bandai Model Kit is a great scale, and this is pretty stinking close. And I do not have the Mafex or the SH Figuarts, but I do know that the SH Figuarts is pretty comparable to this one. Okay, it's about the same height, same width. The Mafex is a little bit bigger, okay, but both of those are very expensive. So as far as nice looking, properly scaled R2s, this one's hard to beat. Okay, so let's get into like articulation on this R2, or features, I should say. So we know how this comes out. To put it back in, you just push it back in, all right? And something else I'll point out real quick, since I'm down here, so these so-called wheels aren't really wheels. They don't roll, they're just sculpted in, okay? But it's totally fine. I mean, he's just gonna be there. So the original Black Series Astromech, it's got wheels. I mean, not that this was the original, but it's the same mold. It had wheels, but I don't think I've ever rolled him around. Okay, all right, they're just there. I'm totally fine with this. Now, as far as the dome can rotate all the way around. So if you want the dome to extend to access all of the storage inside, okay, the so-called face, if you will, has to be lined up with the center of the body, and it just extends, okay? If it's off center, you cannot lift it. If it's over here, you cannot lift it. It has to be right in the center, and then you can lift up, okay? And that's what that looks like, and you have space for all the accessories, and I'll show you that very soon, okay? So that is one thing. And of course, the legs can pivot. You know, they can go all the way around. The feet can pivot, and we saw the third leg. It extends, and of course, that foot can pivot. Now, these doors on the front, I have found it easier to push on the side, and that will open it up a little bit, and then you can access those. Okay, you got 3 little ports on each side. Same thing over here. You can push on that side, and that will open the door just enough to where you can get your nail under there and open that door. Okay, you got 3 more. Now, these things, you kind of have to have something to get these out. Okay, those are like practically flush, and they're a little delicate. Okay, be super careful with these things. Okay, but these things will extend out. And again, be super careful, especially this bottom one. This bottom one's a little finicky. It constantly wants to spring back, and that's about how far they go. Okay, I feel like I'm gonna break it. Okay, but those things will just hinge out. So that's kind of cool. And there's nothing on the back. So you do have some, you know, nice options as far as posing him. And one more thing. You have some there. So it's this one and also this one. Okay, both of these will come out. And be super careful because these will just disappear on you. So let's put this little thing in, his little periscope. Okay, that just plugs in. And that's what that looks like. And I think that looks very nice. All right, so you can pop that little panel back on. And this one, you can get your fingernail under it and lift up. This one's a little tricky. This one's very flush. Or you may have to take a pair of pickups or a small something, but just be careful because it will go flying. I can't get this one off. There we go. Got it. Okay, so that will come out. And you can grab his little sensor. Okay, if he's scanning, that's what that looks like. And I love this thing. All right, let's pop this panel back on. Okay, so that's how those work. It's this one and this one. Okay, pretty self-explanatory, but you know, you have 2 very nice accessories to plug in his head, you know, up here on the dome. And then as far as these little doors, okay, get that one open. This one's very difficult. There we go. All right, so now you have, say, the Sculpt link, which looks great. It's got some nice kind of orangish color paint on it. Okay, you can plug that in. Let's put that in the middle. Uh-oh. All right, be super careful with these. Okay, you don't want to bend them. Okay, so there's the Sculpt link, and I think that looks good. And then you have this little claw. Okay, that looks kind of cool. We'll put it down here. I mean, you can put these anywhere you want. Then you have this little bit there, kind of like a shock prod, kind of. Let's put it up here. Okay, that looks good. Then you have this little tool. It kind of looks like a blaster, but I think it's like a welding thing or a little, you know, tool to fix things. We can put it, say, up here. All right, so that's what that looks like with all the tools in. And it's kind of cool. I mean, these are nicely detailed. You know, not a lot of paint on them except on the sculpt link. And of course, this little tool here is black. These are just kind of a gray plastic, but it looks really nice. And if you want to have all the tools out and these little blue things out, you could do something like this, maybe add some electricity effects, you know, like he's being shocked. I think that's kind of cool. So that's what that looks like with all the tools in. Of course, you know, you can just have one or two out, but I do love the sculpt link. That looks pretty sweet right there. All right, let's close these little doors. Yeah, this is a great looking R2. I mean, if anything, the third leg is kind of a pain to get out. You know, grabbing it with your fingernails is kind of a pain. I've just found, you know, if you have something, you know, that can grab it, you can just, you know, do that and it'll come out and it will lock, okay? It kind of seems a little long when you look at it, but if you have it, say, up here, it's just not going to work because these back legs don't pivot enough. It's just not going to do. It's got to come all the way out. And that's a nice look there. All right, so now for storage for all these tools. So you can extend the head. Then you have these little slots. And you can put these anywhere. They're kind of finicky putting them in, especially this one because it's only fat on the bottom down here. So you have to make sure it's fully seated, and it kind of helps to have the concave part of this little sensor facing the, you know, little cylinder in the middle, but you have to make sure that it's engaged in the bottom and just make sure it's all the way in there, okay, because it will fall out. And then the others, I mean, you can just put them in there wherever you want. Yeah, put that one back there, maybe the shock prod here. So that's what that looks like with all the tools there in their little storage slots. And then you could just shut the, you know, close the dome back down. So then you have all of the accessories stored inside the figure. That's awesome. So there's not a whole lot to say about R2. I mean, we know what he looks like, and I think this is a great representation of R2. I love the blue. All the silver just looks so good. I'm going to go put him on the shelf, and let's see what he looks like there. And here we are, and it looks amazing on the shelf. And you can sort of see how he scales if this bar wasn't in the way. How he scales with some Ewoks and the Gam Guards and with Luke. It's a great size. It's a great size. So that's the one that I was just reviewing. And then the second one I bought, I put up here on the Empire shelf with 3PO. And that is perfect. If I bring up this picture, the height, I think is pretty much spot on. And there he is next to Mandalorian Luke, and I think that scales perfectly. And there he is over here with these three, and I think that looks good. And once again, there's the Bandai model kit, and that's a great model kit. I mean, if you're interested in putting together an R2 model, this one is hard to beat. And of course, I weathered it, so yeah, it looks so much better. But, you know, this is a good option too. This one's not very expensive, but I am absolutely blown away at the new Black Series R2. So bottom line, I think this is a pretty amazing R2, especially for the price. I mean, yes, the SH Figuarts and the Mafex may be a little nicer, but you're talking $90 at least for those two. I mean, they're pretty expensive. This one, it looks great. The scale is perfect. I mean, I was blown away at how well this scales with everything. The colors are great. I think all the paint detail it's just well done. And the fact that you have storage for all those accessories. I don't want to pull too hard and have them fall out. Yeah, this is just super slick right there. I mean, that's borderlining on genius. You know, just to have a place to put all this stuff is just cool. The third leg, it's, I don't know, you just have to grab it with something, or if you have long enough fingernails, you can get in there and pull down. But it's fine. It works well. These things, you know, just get something and pull them out if you want them out. The doors, you can get your nail into there and pull, or just pull from the side. You know, it's a little difficult, but yeah, it's not too bad. But overall, I think this figure looks amazing, and I love the scale. I could not be more pleased with this one. But I want to hear from you guys, so comment below and let me know what you think of the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi R2-D2. And if you enjoy videos on Star Wars The Black Series, please consider dropping a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and don't forget to turn on notifications. I would certainly appreciate it, and I just thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you all next time.